The policy, which is to be publicly financed, aims to provide a uniform package of access to quality and affordable health services. It will target South Africans based on their needs, irrespective of their socio-economic status. Well, Head of Healthcare and Life Sciences Law at Werksmans Attorneys, Neil Kirby, joins us now for just a closer look at this. Neil, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
We were saying this was a lengthy media or press briefing, and many felt after that briefing that we're still in the dark with perhaps the most important aspect of this, how this scheme will be financed. We still don't know that.
Well, absolutely. We know that everyone has to participate. We know that everyone has to pay. We're not quite certain how much we're going to pay. We're also not quite certain what we're paying for, because the particular basket of benefits that we're going to receive is not yet clear, certainly in the NHI Bill, bearing in mind that it's twinned with the Medical Schemes Amendment Bill. But that, I suppose, is aside for the moment. But we don't know those two basic fundamentals. And until we understand the dynamics of the money versus what we're getting, this is going to remain a contentious debate.
Which dampens my next question, because I was searching for a timeline of implementation. We're at the public comment stage at the moment, right, and I suppose we will face barriers.
I believe so. I think that what's been put in front of the public at the moment in terms of both the NHI Bill and the Medical Schemes Amendment Bill is government's best proposal. It's what they would like to see if these two bills became law tomorrow. They expect some degree of pushback from the stakeholders in the healthcare sector. And I think that we're going to see a shift. It may be remarkable, it may be immaterial, but there'll be a shift in relation to what we have on the table now to what we ultimately receive as legislation.
And we were saying off camera, I mean, this shift is nothing we've actually seen before. I want to talk about the four pillars of what's putting our health system in a rather precarious situation at the moment. And the Minister mentioned it himself as well. Human resources, financial management, procurement, and the maintenance of infrastructure, which is a huge one. The Minister telling us today, in fact, NHI, through its strategy, will fix those four pillars. What's your take?
Well, I did listen to the Minister's briefing quite carefully today, especially about matters concerning the state of public facilities and the services one receives in public facilities, on the back of the very issues that you've now mentioned. And the Minister's reaction was, well, this isn't going to be an overnight fix or a fix in the short term, but we are addressing these issues through the Office of Health Standards Compliance and the Health Ombudsman, and quite frankly, in due course, you, the public and the consumer, will see a marked difference in what it is that you're going to be receiving at a public health establishment. I'm not sure that that's going to be good enough in the time frames that have been set out in the National Health Insurance Bill to allay public fears about what it is that we are going to receive at public health establishments. Bearing in mind, we're talking about a national health insurance scheme and fund in place by 2026. That's not a long time away based on what we've got behind us already insofar as the operating and operations of the public health sector have been. This is something that needs to be taken, I think, a little bit more soberly in relation to what can be done with existing resources, NHI aside. So bring at least something to show for what it is that you want the public sector to be able to do versus what it is that you think the private sector is doing, at least.
Got a few seconds here, and I got to ask you, we've heard that clip just a few seconds ago from him, from the Minister. Do we know how the medical aid schemes bill will fit into NHI? Have you got somewhat of a clearer picture?
Well, not currently. These two pieces of proposed legislation sit at the moment quite uncomfortably. We don't quite know what it is that the medical schemes are going to do. The way the Minister spoke today, it sounded like co-payments were a thing of the past tomorrow. That is not the case. There's a long way to go between understanding what is proposed currently and where we will end up eventually in relation to the interaction between the two sectors.
All right, I'm going to have to leave it there. Neil Kirby from Werksmans Attorneys, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.